So good to be here. Often, the gifts in our life come disguised as disasters. And so one of the things you think about is this idea of failure. And you'll see that I'm going to go to my iPad, and I do have some frameworks for you, just like every other session. But I want to talk through one of the biggest failures that happened in my life, okay? A financial failure. Okay. And I talk about this whole session, and I titled it Failing Your Way to Success, because I actually think that it is a necessary step. And when we start to understand that the failing is just a stepping stone to learning, we start to look at it differently. So let me just jump to the iPad. I'm just going to frame this failure that happened with me. And we're going to go back in time to 2005. In 2005, I got involved in an investment. So they said it was an investment, but 1 hour of stupid can cost you a bundle. And so what happened is that this investment turned out to be a Ponzi scheme. But I didn't know it until 2006, 2007. By that time, myself and two of my friends had lost $4.5 million. I wiped out 1/3 of everything I owned in that one investment. Now, mind you, y'all, okay, I'm a financial guy. I teach this stuff. I'm the one that they come to put these kinds of parasites in jail, and I got taken. So imagine for a moment what I was going through. Okay, the stories that were going on in my head, how I should get out of the game, how I should stop this. I should turn in my CPA license and no longer do it. Now, what ended up happening is I ended up testifying in front of the grand jury. He got indicted. He ends up going to jail for 9 years, 35 counts. And we never recovered anything. Supposedly there's restitution coming, but I don't think we're going to see a dime. But here's the thing that I think is really important for you to understand, okay, is that events are not failures, and they don't create failures, but our interpretations of the events do. And I'll give you a for instance. I'm going to walk you through how this plays out and how it played out in this event as we do this. I'm going to walk you through what I call the set point story dynamic first, because this is what we do as individuals if we're not careful, is that we observe something. We have an event that happens to us. And when that event happens to us, there are the facts. There are the things that happen. In this case, I gave the dude money. And in this case, the money never came back. And so once the event happens, the problem is this, is that we decide to give the event an interpretation. We decide to overlay our perspective and everything on it, which then leads us to this idea of identity. So watch what's happening to me. I'm looking at this and I'm saying, I'm an idiot. I just lost well over $1 million and 1/3 of everything I own. I'm a single full-time dad. How the heck am I going to recover? I shouldn't be doing this. I literally need to shut down, don't do anything, go find another job and do that. So all of a sudden I start to take on that identity, because the problem with that though is this, is that when we allow the stories to get a hold of us, that identity gets a hold of us, and that starts to drive our behaviors. And those behaviors will drive what's possible for us if we're not careful. So the event itself wasn't the problem, but my interpretation of the event was the problem. And if I stayed in the interpretation of the event, you and I wouldn't be talking. I wouldn't have a book coming out, another book coming out. I wouldn't be out speaking. I wouldn't financially be where I am today. But I had to separate the interpretation from the event. And here's how you do this. I'm going to walk you through this, and I'm going to tell you in more detail how I kind of navigated and recovered from this and any other failure. To separate the facts from the interpretation, the event from the interpretation, here's how you do it. Assume that you got a camera that's watching the event. Whatever happened, sound off, but just the lens. And you watch the happening. That's the event. None of the voice, none of the voices in your head, none of anything else. It's what the camera sees. The camera would have seen me handing this guy money, this guy never giving me money back. That's the event. There is no emotion. There is nothing around it. Okay? Everything else is interpretation. Now we have to start to look at it and say, how do we take that interpretation and make it a positive interpretation? Remember, sometimes the gifts in our life come disguised as disasters. Now, this was a disaster for me. This was something that I was freaked out about because I said, I just lost well over $1 million. Okay, so what did I do? And I had to go back and really think this through and say, was there a process I followed? And there was a process I followed. I'm going to walk you through this framework right now. And there's 3 different stages to this framework. And so it's what I call failing your way to success. In the first stage of this is a stage of reflection. Now, reflection is about your past. Reflection is about what happened. The second stage is about realization. The realization is about your present. What are you doing right now? What do you need to do right now? How are we going to navigate this? What is that? What is happening? And I'll break this down with this whole failure and what happened with me and how that happened. Then the third stage is what I call the rebound. The rebound is about your future. Okay. And when we start to understand how to navigate the past, the present, the future, how to reflect properly, how to realize what the lessons are, and then how to rebound, we can start to navigate adversity and we can start to navigate failures.
This can be your day for personal growth. This can be that day you committed to and you remember and you go, that was the day I got myself a community. I got better coaches. I committed to making my life the absolute best that I could. This is that day. Make today your growth day. Click the button on this page and sign up right now.